Hello, and welcome to the Misgrooved Podcast. Sorry, we've attempted this like twice before. Where we don't fail reps, we simply misgroove them. I'm Michael Casey. I'm a below-average powerlifter. Here with me is the man with two first names, one of them male, one of them female, Martin Kimberley of the Liverpool Strength Co. Martin, how are you getting on?
I'm okay, thanks, mate. It's a hell of an introduction.
Yeah, I know, yeah. I'd worked on that for a couple of days. You couldn't tell. Yeah, we're here because I decided that we should do a podcast based around the gym, but sort of also about history and things. But going into the history of it, we've trained for about 5 years together, give or take?
Roughly, probably about 5-6 years, something like that, in the Liverpool Strength Co gym for about three-ish, roughly, something like that.
We're going
you've been competing for about 2, maybe, gradually getting better and better, aren't you?
Gradually, slowly. But I think my first memory of training with you, and it's one of my favourites, because it shows what type of guy you are. I was bench pressing and completely failed the rep. You lifted the bar off me and you went, "Are you all right?" And I looked at you and went, "I appear to have shot myself." And instead of getting the joke, you went, "Oh, I'll go and get a towel." And I was like, "Oh, that's a nice guy right there. That's a really sound fella. That's somebody you want in your corner." He's like, he thinks there's an outside chance you've pooped your pants, but he'll give you a hand.
I wanted to make sure you were comfortable, and then afterwards, then we make a joke of it. The long game is what's important.
If I play this right, this is going to be a cracking story. I was like, what's the best story I could use some Martin up with to start this thing off with? Yeah, I know, the poop story. That's always a good one. But yeah, I got you here essentially under the pretense of talking about training and strength and things like that. But also mainly I just like talking about bits and pieces out of history. And so I think I might for a little while dose your head with random stuff from Greek history. I was going to do, people, but then I thought some of the myths are funny. But we'll start off, I think, with two real people.
Real people?
Real people that supposedly existed.
Right.
We'll jump in with, you ever heard of Bybon of Phola? Son of Phola.
Oh, no, son of Phola.
Phola, not too much. I think Bybon's given his dad a bit of a...
bit of a shout out.
A bit of a shout out, Nobody had surnames then, apparently, and according to my history teacher, everything was invented by the Irish, so... Surnames invented by the Irish in the 8th century.
Did they run out?
No, we all thought there was too many Micks.
Right.
So we just went,
we need to diversify.
Just give everybody two.
One thing that with surnames, right, which I know is a story you'll kind of appreciate, is obviously surnames come from what you used to do as a job.
Yeah.
So what I've been told is that Kimberley, it's like a South African mining town or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, and supposedly that's where it comes from. That might not be true, but that's what I've been told. And so you think butcher, there's got a history of obviously being a butcher. Smith is from blacksmith, from making tools and stuff like that. So where does Dickinson come from?
Somebody in just a small village somewhere just going, you know what, when they were handing them out, just scribbling them down. What are we going to call Barry? Let me Dickinson. Yeah, we'll tell him later. Just write it down. I love what was it? There was one in I was in work today, and somebody had a surname of Battersby, and I went to a lady I work with and went, what do you think she does to wasps? Yeah, they're not all winners, but that was an alright one.
I'm a fan of that.
Yeah, but so to start off with, we'll start off with the Greeks, the pantheon. You get all the heroes. You get, I would like to do one at some stage on Heracles and Jason and the Argonauts, all them sort of boys.
A-listers.
Oh, the A-listers. Yeah, we're not going. But for the minute,
we're going to start small, don't we?
We're going to start small, and I think some powerlifters and weightlifters may know who these couple of people are because powerlifting and weightlifting is kind of a niche community. So I think some people will know these people, but if you don't know Bybon, son of Phola, he was born in the 6th century, or lived in the 6th century anyway. Maybe he was born before. Maybe he died after it. He probably died after he was born. Yeah, that's...
Well, that's generally how it goes. That's the order it goes in. You're born and then you die.
Well, yeah, I suppose I was going to bring up Benjamin Button, but he was born and then he was died. So this was a complete waste of time. But we know of him because of one artifact. And I'm just showing, if you're listening along, Google Bybon Soul of Phola, but just and hit images. It's a big rock. It's got some scratches in it, and if you can see in the top, there's like a divot,
right? Yeah.
In it.
Yeah.
So, what that says on it is, where have I written that down? Bybon, son of Phola, has lifted me over his head with one hand.
Right.
Right. So from the picture, you don't know how big that rock is. It's 143 kilos.
It's a lot of weight.
It's a lot of weight with one hand. And the historian E. Norman Gardner said that lift actually translates to threw. So he threw 143 kilos.
Right, okay.
Overhead with one hand.
And let go of it?
I assume so. Well, how you bringing that back down? Like a one-handed snatch.
Yeah.
Or some sort of some sort of weird clean and a jerk.
Press. Yeah.
But he apparently threw it, which would make me think of it. But what I really liked about it was, because I'm looking into this and kind of going like what weightlifting world records are and things like that. And you going, this boy, that's up there with. And back then you're talking. There's no PEDs. There's nothing that would. You're just talking about eating and training. That's it. And then so I'm looking through weightlifting records and things from the 20s and stuff before maybe steroids were big, and then it dawned on me. What if he just wrote that on that rock? he was just some fella walking along, weak as get out, and just went, you know what, and just took a little chisel and had a go at it and went, and everybody, all his mates could have gone, you didn't do that.
Like he was down the boozer and telling a tall tale.
But he said, my name's carved into it. Yeah, my name's carved. Yeah, so I did it. Oh, can you do it again? No, it was a 1 rep max.
One-time thing.
Yeah, 1 rep max. I can't do it now. The rotator cuff, or I don't know what that is in Greek, but has gone, and I can't. Or he just never did it whatsoever, and it's just a complete farce that he one day just carved it in, and we're here, 2,600 years later, going.
I wonder if he did it.
What an absolute lad! Absolutely crushed it. Yeah, how would he get on at the Olympics nowadays? But bringing up the Olympics, because that's all Bybon did. He wasn't probably the best person to go in to start out with, because he's a one-line guy. Yeah, it's not the best.
He did one thing.
Yeah, we could ease in and we could bail on this entire podcast if it was terrible. I don't know, what are we, a couple of minutes in? I didn't set the timer. That was a bad idea.
No, I kind of like that. I mean, 143 kilos in one hand is so... For context, that's roughly about what I can clean right now with both hands, both legs. And it's a struggle to stand it up.
And Martin's not a small boy. It's not your first day in the gym neither.
Thanks for that, by the way.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
ego boost. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Plus, like, we're not actually filming this, so if
right,
anybody
exactly.
doesn't,
Did he do it? Is Martin big? Who fucking knows? It's an audio only podcast.
The one person who drunkenly listens to this from like Texas is gonna be like, yeah, no, this guy must be absolutely massive. You go, no, yeah, we could both be sitting here. You don't know, or you do. In which case, please don't be mean. It does sort of bring me then. The mention of the Olympics brings me onto a fella. Have you ever heard of Milo of Croton?
Yeah. So,
You heard of him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the guy who basically picked up a baby calf and basically did he carry it up a mountain or something?
Right. He's famous for he picked up a baby calf and he would walk with it. But he would pick it up every day. So as the calf grew, he got bigger and he got stronger. And he's essentially the person who the legend goes that he invented progressive overload.
Yeah.
The only problem being, but allegedly he could carry a fully grown bull. But he was, it's obviously the legend. He obviously, unless he could, in which case, sorry if he's any descendants listening, they get really offended.
Imagine if that was like your claim to fame, that like Milo was like your great times like 1,000 granddad.
Yeah. Although, like, you'd have
to go deep on bloody ancestry.com.
Yeah, you'd have to do some genetics. 21 on me, or 23 on me?
23 of me, 21 of me.
Oh no. I'm missing a couple of chromosomes. It's fine. It's just my arm tingles. And I can't go out when it rains. But, so he again, right? He's a real guy from the 6th century. He was a 6-time Olympic champion and had a 24-year-long wrestling career. Okay? So he obviously famous for lifting the bull. But I really like the other stories about him. Because before, with this 24-year wrestling career, quote, to intimidate his opponents, Milo of Croton would consume raw bull's meat in front of his adversary and would drink raw bull's blood for energy and vitality. Give that a go.
That's interesting.
Max out, that is raw bull's meat. I'm just like, all I'm thinking is a stomach cramp.
I know, yeah. Like, is that what was intimidating? That he could handle the cramps?
He's in a clinch with some fella and he's going, oh God, sorry, I am so sorry. I put that and the guy's like, okay, you win. I tap. I'm out.
He didn't win by being stronger and better. He won by freaking them out.
Yeah, for 24 years. The other thing, I started reading about this guy, and you have the progressive overload, things like that, and you read about the progressive overload, and everybody just goes, "Yeah, no, he couldn't have carried a fully grown bull." Cheers for that, lads. Yeah, stellar research there, boys.
Thanks very much, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, some historians gone out to a farm, looked at a bull, and gone, Nah. Yeah. Write that down. But he, apparently though, friends with Pythagoras off of the theorem, saved his life once apparently, when they were at a feast at a banquet hall, and a roof support collapsed, and he held it and let Pythagoras get out.
Did Pythagoras do the sum?
I so hope he did. Yeah. Just like, Milo, I've had an idea. Not now. I'm a little busy.
A squared plus B squared equals Milo getting crushed.
Yeah. Just carve it into a rock. Just carve it into a rock. We'll talk about it later. I don't want to hear about triangles while this building is collapsing. Everyday triangles. But yeah, I lifted just with my, I'm doing air quotes, research. Which may have just been lifted straight from the feet
from Wikipedia.
Yeah. But hey, I'm mentioning my references.
It's got to be done.
Seamless edit after the computer stopped recording. But yeah, from his Wikipedia, his feats of strength. Anecdotes about Milo's almost superhuman strength and lifestyle abound. His daily diet allegedly consisted of 9 kilograms of meat, 9 kilograms of bread, and 10 litres, brackets 18 pints of wine. Pliny the Elder and Solinus both attribute his strength in competition to his consumption of the gizzard stones of roosters, which, I don't know, I don't think we're anywhere near trying that for a maximum lift anytime soon.
I think the 9 kilograms of meat, that seems a bit excessive. Is that a daily amount?
That's a daily amount.
18 pints of wine.
Yeah, like that.
And bread as well.
Yeah, so you are... Like,
he's getting some carbs and protein in.
I would not want to share a toilet with him. No, you would not want to...
Maybe that's why they were so good. I know we're talking about Greeks, aren't we? Not Romans.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe that's why they were so good at drainage and shit.
Well, maybe that's what... Well, Croton is actually on the Italian peninsula.
Right. So it could be.
That could have been... We're probably completely wrong. And like just... if you have any issues with that or historical accuracy, please let Martin know about it. He will really, really care. He also he carried his own bronze statue to its place at Mount Olympus. At Olympia. 2 different places. One's where the Olympics are, one's where the gods hang out. But I don't think we can all get a little bit conceited. But, like, how much were the shipping costs on that after going and getting your own statue made?
There's 2 things with that, though. One, how big's the statue? Because it could have been.
Just a
little one, yeah. So, if it's, like, the same size as him, or, like, a ridiculously huge one, then, yeah, okay. Maybe you want to pay the shipping costs on that.
This is exactly like my... Because I, in all truth, have kicked a shark in the face. And it was at least 6 foot long. It was massive. And I tell people that sort of people, oh yeah, wow, okay, really? You kicked it? Yeah, no, I really kicked it. Although I do have to, I never do quantify it by going, I was 9, I was at a proper working like fishing harbour, and it was like dead on a pallet, and I was 9 holding my dad's hand, and I thought, I'm never getting this chance again. So I went over and booted him right in the snout. My dad looking at me with... I thought I would turn round to pride. I didn't. It was that sort of... Oh, no.
You had to buy the shark because it was dirty.
Although I don't know. I imagine I can probably still get the number for whoever was selling that. That's probably illegal, though, isn't it? That's probably really illegal. Sorry, we don't condone... Do we condone shark? We don't condone shark eating. We don't. No, just smaller fish that can't fight back.
Just 9 kilograms of meat.
Yeah, 9 kilograms of meat, completely reasonable. Kicking a shark in the face, don't do it. It's something only a child would do, and I never want to recreate it all the time. But yeah, carried his own statue to save on, I imagine, shipping costs. Even though if he got with a large internet company, I imagine, free shipping, next day delivery. But, apparently, and these 2 stories I like because they're that absurd that they have to be real. For somebody to have to note them, you wouldn't just make it up unless you were on unless you were on something. And I can't imagine there was a whole pile in ancient Greece. So they would have to be real. The first one is, apparently he was able to hold a pomegranate in his hands without damaging it, while challengers tried to pry his fingers apart from it. And how do you find out you have that particular skill? And how annoying must that have been on a day-to-day basis? Guys, try and get the pomegranate. No, we're Olympic wrestlers. We're important. Like, we are important people. We are the highlight of our sporting community. Every 4 years, I don't have time to mess around with your pomegranate.
To be fair, though, from a training point of view, there is some efficacy to this, because for a wrestler, depending on how they were wrestling, obviously Greco wrestling, I would assume would be his speciality.
Yeah, I imagine it was probably just Greco, the
Greco-Roman.
Roman.
Yeah, the Roman
came
later. Yeah. As that was coming out of my mouth, I was like, yeah, this sounds ridiculous. But from a grip point of view, that could have some efficacy in that. Obviously, gripping is an important part of wrestling.
Yeah.
Having a strong grip, having strong forearms.
And I suppose you would have to tense your entire body to do that, which would help with the raw bull's meat that he ate before the match.
Yeah.
Just keep everything, and I mean everything, tight. Although, oh yeah, I said 2 stories. There's actually 3. I've not read my own notes. Apparently, he could burst a band fastened around his brow by inhaling air and causing his temple veins to swell, which, not so much a feat of strength, sounds far more like a medical issue.
Yeah.
Guys, look what I can do. Go to a hospital.
1, how big is his head? Right. And 2, how tight was the band?
All I'm thinking is, the Goombas out of like the
the
Mario movie with who was Mario in that? But that was great film. Check it out. Yeah. Apparently, as well, he would oil up a discus, right? He would stand on this oiled discus and have other wrestlers try to push him from it.
Right.
Which is just, first of all, a discus, something he wouldn't have used in wrestling, so he would have had to borrow that from somebody else, which must have been tiring. If there's a story about it that he did it regularly, he just lads, try and push me off this discus. Just no, leave me alone.
Like, I think an important point that we're overlooking here is who was he asking to do these? So was it the other wrestlers, or was it like the discus throwers? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it like the other like freaks that he'd like compete against in wrestling, or is it like the army people, or is it like the scholars? Because you could probably go into at that time a room full of scholars and go try and get this pomegranate out of my hands.
Bet you're not getting this pomegranate. Yeah. You're going, all right, okay. Well, yeah, just... Oh, I can't get it off. I imagine that's what happened with the discus. He just went up and went, lads, just let us borrow that. Let us borrow that. And, especially with the fact he was eating 9 kilos of bread a day. And you're going, so a bit of oil on the bread, right? Bit of oil on the discus. It's not unreasonable to think that he was oiling himself up as well, just to make the challenge a little bit more. But all I could think was, can you imagine people going up to him and going trying to push him, and just to get away, just no, I can't.
Do you think maybe that's what the story was originally, and it's turned into like this mythology? Yeah. No one could push him off this discus. They were just trying to get him away.
He was just he was that weird. They just built the rest of the legend around him. Just that much of a weirdo. And then we've decided to walk away. And also, sort of what I do enjoy about it is the amount of like strength training products and things that are named after this guy.
Yeah.
The only thing is, when things are named after this guy, they never really mention his death. It's all about lifted the bull,
right.
held up the roof for Pythagoras, ate a load, was sounds like a big, like a hard fella.
Yeah.
By the pomegranate and the discus, and the obvious like head injury with the band around the head, which you just go, oh my god. See, whatever a Greek doctor is, I imagine a doctor, but they didn't have
in Greek.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not great with languages and anything that isn't basically whatever my voice is just outside of Belfast. But nobody talks about. They don't talk about his death whenever they're marketing all these products. The guy, you see the silhouette with the guy with
like
the bowl.
Elvis. Because all that food, 16 kilos of food and 18 pints of wine. Can imagine that he probably died on the toilet.
I think that's the way he was going. But how he died is, I would say, is far more linked to the pomegranate and the discus.
Right.
So, quote, Milo was walking in a forest when he came across a tree trunk split with wedges. In what was probably intended as a display of strength, Milo inserted his hands into the cleft to rend the tree in two. The wedges fell from the cleft, and the tree closed upon his hands, trapping him. Unable to free himself, the wrestler was devoured by wolves.
Right. Okay.
He stuck his hands in a tree. They got stuck, and he got eaten by wolves.
Do you think it's kind of like that episode of The Simpsons where Homer gets his hand stuck in the machine, but it's because he's got hold of like the inside of the machine?
Mr. Simpson, are you holding on to the candy bar? No. What I like about it though is, so I don't think he would have been walking through the woods by himself and would have decided to rip a tree in half. I'm basing that on nothing. Yeah. But
he kind of seems like he liked having people round to see these things. Yeah.
So he stuck. So let's say he was walking through the woods with some people when I can rip this tree in half, and you can nearly feel from 2,600 years ago the eye rolling of, oh, we've got somewhere to be. Oh, he's gonna try and rip this tree in half. Puts his hands in, gets them stuck, and people just walking away. Just no. It's always sunny. We'll come back for you. That's what we said to Frank. But then
it was Bob Hoskins, by the way, who played Mario.
Bob Hoskins, the great
that was
Bob
doing
Hoskins.
my head in.
Yeah. I knew a fella played a young Bob Hoskins in a film. Yeah. What a claim to fame. Can't remember what the film was. I think it was 1997. Wikipedia. That'd probably be as much research as I put into this podcast. If anybody researches that, feel free to also let me know. We'll probably not reply. Yeah, Bob Hoskins. I think I might actually watch that. Nothing like the video games, but then how do you? But yeah. So Milo, hand stuck in a tree, wolves gone, because he sounded like a
bit of a dick.
Yeah, not somebody. I don't think I'd necessarily be wanting to train with somebody like that day in and day. Oh, like he trained. He was a wrestler for 24 years. 24 years of that nonsense. Like 6-time Olympic champion though. So I think the takeaway from his life is more gizzard stones, more meat, more wine, more bread, more raw meat before a competition. And if you know a good butcher, some raw bull's blood.
And don't put your hand into holes in a tree.
Well, no, like that's just good.
That's kind of what you learn when you're a child, anyway.
Well, you don't know what that could be.
You know what could be inside.
There could be a
tree?
bear trap in there. I thought they were going to be a big issue growing up. They weren't.
I thought quicksand was going to be a big issue growing up.
Yeah, well,
right.
It was quicksand was going to be the issue, and then I've been banging on. If anybody has spoken to me about this before, where did all the red spiders go? Where are all the little red spiders? Where did they go? Where did they go? They're not here. I don't see them anymore. Either that, or I spent a lot more time just looking at
things.
Looking at walls. Just
window ledges.
Looking at them. For hours. Going, Jesus, there are loads of them. And people, people do the harken back to the better old days. I don't miss nothing. Just staring at a wall. Either that, or I was just that sort of child. People just leave him.
So getting back to Milo.
Oh yeah.
What kind of? Obviously, we know he'd be a wrestler.
Yeah.
No, he might not be. What kind of training do you think he would do?
Well, as the father of progressive overload, I imagine that'll get you so far in life. It'll get somebody like Milo so far. But that has just got to be skills based, doesn't it? Right? Like that has got to be. You can't just go in and neck, a ton of meat a month. and a ton of bread and a boatload of wine and just go, and just win. Yeah, like that's not going to be a strategy. To have in those days, can you imagine traveling from that Greek colony in Italy to Olympia in Greece? That's not an easy journey. Every 4 years to win 6 times, and like that's what people did for fun. That was they probably didn't have the red spiders neither. Yeah, they wrestled. That's what people did. Yeah, or quicksand.
Maybe that's why they were such good wrestlers, because they had quicksand.
And they had a regular lot of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever seen that YouTube video of the woman. I think it's a woman just going, "Oh, quicksand's not actually that dangerous. If you ever sink down into it, if you ever feel yourself sinking into it, just walk out." Which actually just felt kind of really disappointing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a short change of that, isn't it?
Yeah, I really was hoping that it would be like this big, like, hey, you've got to, no, it's just you walk out of it. You keep unless you really want to get stuck in it, you're not getting stuck in it. But I think that sort of trading, I imagine, is that all they did?
What kind? Yeah, exactly. That's probably the question that I want to ask you. Like, what do you think that how much of his time do you think he would dedicate towards like the skill acquisition of wrestling versus the strength aspect of things, which I think is an important question for combat sports. Like,
yeah, it's there was obviously that the video of Wilder that came out. Was it the other day or the other week of him benching? Was it
like 180 kilos?
180 kilos odd. And say what you will about as a rep, okay, for powerlifting that wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
But what am I going to say to him? Like,
well, yeah.
But
hold on there, Deontay. Hold on there a sec.
Hi, Michael Casey, below average powerlifter. Take a seat. Do I have to tell you some things? I don't think that's going to go well. But I think it's got to be. There's got to be a fair amount, a decent amount of strength training, but they can't go and there's no way you're doing a 90% rep max and even taking the risk of doing any damage to yourself, as opposed to like the actual skill acquisition that would need to be involved. Of you need to constantly just run drills with things and constantly do I imagine with Greco, later Roman also wrestling, would it be is it just the skills work of trying to get out of certain positions and working, or is it just like, is there a natural knack of a talent to it more so than I know? Because all I know about wrestling is messing about with my cousin as a kid and getting my ass handed to me every weekend. I'm getting him this week. No, but maybe I was missing out in the oil on the raw bull's blood, which obviously
and the gizzards.
Good for kids, good for adults, good for the whole family. But I think that's probably about our time today. But we would be remiss not to go without. Do you want to read the sponsor? I think you should read the sponsor. Okay. That's them there.
Okay, so this podcast is brought to you by dogs. Do you want to pick up another living creature's poop? Dogs are the animal for you. Try one now, or just for Christmas.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We don't actually have a sponsor. If anybody wants to give us any money, that would just be absolutely fantastic. I will shill anything, any product you want going, weapons, anything. I can't, just give me some. Yeah, it's fine. Crisps, yep. This is we're talking about we want to do bits and pieces about strength. I'll pick up any product you want. Just let me know.
As long as the price is right.
Oh yeah, if the price is right. Well, the price doesn't even have to be all that right. But yeah, Martin, where can everybody find us or the gym?
You can find the gym at on Instagram or on Facebook. Instagram is at Liverpool Strength Co. And I think it's the same for Facebook. It might just be the Liverpool Strength Company, which is...
If you can't find it,
well,
I worry.
Well, yeah, it's kind of basic.
Okay. But, yeah, no. See you later. Bye!